Hello, my name is John today, and I am a recovering alcoholic. I'm here to read the Daily Reflections book for November 17th, 2023. It's called Overcoming Loneliness. Almost without exception, alcoholics are tortured by loneliness. Even before our drinking got bad and people began to cut us off, nearly all of us suffered the feeling that we didn't quite belong. That's from As Bill Sees It, page 90. The agonies and the void that I often felt inside occur less and less frequently in my life today. Hooray! I have learned to cope with solitude. It is only when I am alone and calm that I am able to communicate with God, for He cannot reach me when I am in turmoil. It is good to maintain contact with God at all times, but it is absolutely essential that when everything seems to go wrong, I maintain that contact through prayer and meditation, period. The end of the reading. So in yesterday's reading for November 16th, it said a daily reprieve. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And maintaining that condition is like working out every day. It's staying in good shape spiritually, and that requires prayer and meditation. That's why I brought that up mainly. And so the prayer, this is saying in today's reading, absolutely essential when things are going wrong to maintain the contact with your power greater than, your higher power, God as you understand Him, through prayer and meditation. So what does that mean? I can only give you usually each day, every day, however, what I'm able to articulate today, what I'm able to put together as a complete thought, or maybe not even a complete thought, and give you today. What I'm saying here overall has served me well. And I try to be as honest as possible. There might be some kind of boundary, with Alcoholics Anonymous and YouTube, a public forum, consumed possibly, potentially by the entire world. So maybe I can't be fully honest with particular details. Freaking people's names, for one thing. And addresses and times and dates and such and whatever. But I generally am giving you exactly what happened in my life, or to the best of my recollection. I'm not trying to shade anything or tint it or color it up in any particular way. It's just this straight from the heart kind of thing. Okay, so the daily reprieve, contingent upon the maintenance of the spiritual condition. Spiritual condition is somewhat mainly fortified, nourished, maintained, bolstered, held up by, supported with prayer and meditation. And then I was saying, I think in yesterday's reading, that can be, the prayer is, the way it's worked best for me is to say the prayer part of the prayer and meditation is the talking to, and the meditation part is the listening from. So the prayer is to God as you understand Him, or to your higher power, or whatever you pray to. That's individual choice, up to you. The meditation part is the listening from that God as you understand them, for the answer, the reply, the advice, the intuition. The other day, I think on the 15th, it said, intuition and inspiration. We ask God for inspiration an intuitive thought or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. So this meditation part isn't involving, well, the prayer either. Well, maybe the prayer part might come after a bit of struggle with your own will about what you want to be doing for the next 10 minutes, say. Pardon me. Or 20 minutes or an hour or whatever. So you might need to struggle to get into prayer and to say a prayer and become willing to even pray. That can be another issue. And then the meditation part should be not a struggle where you're fighting some kind of match in your head with, I mean, this happens. This is meditation. The beginning part of meditation is to be sitting there having a wrestling match with something, or the way I liken it to is like a monkey inside my head throwing its poop all over the walls of my brain or its skull, and just making a general mess of everything. And I feel like I'm not meditating. That is meditation. And what happens is that you learn to ignore that. You realize, I think a point or a directive, a goal in meditation is to be able to have all that static noise, anxious, racing thoughts happening. And at least for the time of meditation, we can realize that we don't need to solve any of that right now. We can just accept or hear out the need and everything of the thought and just say, okay, I feel angry, say. And of course, that kind of leads to why I'm angry and all that. That's already, it's pushed away the anger, and you've moved into a new thought of criticism and judgment and stuff, because why you're angry, and then you think, maybe I wouldn't be so critical and judgmental if I was, and now we're on the third thought, and this stuff happens, bam, 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 and what we're doing eventually, or at least what I've been taught, and the way I accomplish meditation, is all that stuff is happening, and I just give it its due, I guess. And its due isn't to be focused upon and solved that instant. It's just to realize all that stuff is happening, and that's where you're at. This is your inventory, like, in a way. This is what you have in your life right now, is all this stuff. And that's okay. Everybody has that. We all have that. And then we just let it happen. And at the prayer part of it, prayer and meditation, I pray I can get through this meditation with some insight at the end, perhaps. Might be a goal thing. Or God, keep me sober for the next 20 minutes. God, keep me sober for the next 5 minutes. Please, God, help me accomplish something worthwhile in the way of helping somebody else today. And then sit down and meditate and wait for the answer. This is maybe a simplistic way of saying all this, because maybe that monkey's up there making such a mess of your thoughts that, say you've sat down to meditate for 5 minutes, and 1 minute is a complaint list, which is fine, and then 4 minutes of it is maybe trying to direct God and how it could be solved, and then if you do it that way, what about this, and some kind of argument in your head about what you think you need to solve this dilemma that you stated in the prayer. And now that that's happened, and your 5 minutes of meditation time is over with, and you go about doing whatever you do the rest of your time of the day, you think maybe that wasn't effective at all. Well, eventually, here's why I said it kind of this way, is that I don't think it would be realistic to pray and say the prayer consists of a bunch of demands and questions and asking for statements or questions or whatever, that okay, and then just sitting there forever or until you get an answer you like. Okay, so as we're sitting waiting for the answer in meditation, it isn't that much of a direct thing. We're just sitting and waiting for meditation time to be over with. Is one way of putting this, I guess. And I don't know if I'm making this clear. Because what happens, the best condition, I think, for me to be in, to receive answers, insight, intuition, the answer to prayers of how can I stay sober, something like that, questions like that. The best condition I can be in to receive those replies is one of calm and serenity and not trying to struggle and fix everything on my own and thinking if I only had this, whatever it may be, fill in the blank, then everything would be okay. I was mentioning in yesterday's video that a lot of my prayer life now is one of gratitude rather than one of lack, asking for more and more of material things, say, because I can always use more grace. I can always use more humility, more wisdom, maybe even possibly more honesty. You know, there's ways that you can talk completely honest and not... I just got this thought of a politician that you can say a whole bunch of fairly honest things but not actually divulge any useful information. Rhetoric, I guess, is that form of speech. Anyways, man, where are we at for time? 12 minutes. Overcoming loneliness. The agonies and void that I often felt inside occur less and less frequently in my life today. I have learned to cope with solitude. It is only, this person thinks it's only when I am alone and calm that I am able to communicate with God, for he cannot reach me when I am in turmoil. I wanted to get to that in turmoil. That's a poor condition to be receiving, period. If you thought of a radio station antenna and a satellite receiving dish or remote dish, and you've got the announcer, or God, if you will. This is a metaphor, I think. That you've got the station, you've got the power, you've got the antenna, and everything is operating, and the announcer starts saying things, and it's broadcast. It's broadcast in every direction for a distance that it can be powered by whatever kind of power they got at the station. A 10-watt station isn't going to get outside of the room, likely. A 150 megawatt or something, I don't know where they go up to, but the more amperage or amplitude, or I'm not a radio guy, the more power they have, the further the signal will go. But what I'm trying to paint here is that it's going up, it's going down, it's going out, it's going 360 degrees, it's going every direction. It's going. It's the announcer spoke, it's going, the information is out there. And if you don't have a dish or some way to catch that signal, you're not going to hear what the announcer said or understand, or some other way to retrieve that information. You need a receiving dish, and then it isn't going to do any good if your receiving dish doesn't work. Say you're not tuned into the right frequency that power is being broadcast at. amplitude, I guess. So when you're in turmoil, that is like throwing a bunch of snow and ice and crap onto your satellite dish. And now the signal, no matter how strong or what direction is coming at your dish, there's something in the way to receive that signal. And you're not going to get a good, the reception will be poor and garbled, whatever. It's going to be maybe not as good as it could be. It could be actually misleading. You might be actually getting a bleed over from a nearby station. Okay, and I believe if I have time and can articulate it today, that that bleed over thing. See, now, like in yesterday's reading, I was saying this thing that a metaphor thing or an anecdote or an analogy, maybe. The say pro athlete, or yeah, just use pro, up there, elite type, really serious, versus everything they need to do to maintain optimal condition in their body. There's probably a lot of self-discipline involved, and they're not eating everything they want all the time and doing whatever they want all the time. They're training to do the whatever. Okay, pro athletes, serious people. Generally, that's how you become a professional. You spend a lot of time and effort attaining some amount of faculty in the facility in the endeavor. Anyways, the alcoholic, same thing. That I was a pro level alcoholic. Let's put it that way. Now I've retired from that. It's in remission, and I've kind of picked up a new way of life, a new career. Why not? And that's a way to stay content, productive, happy, healthy, with not ingesting alcohol, number one. Okay, there's a whole lot of other things, but that's coming. Let me just go back over yesterday's reading. A daily reprieve is, we really have this daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Maintaining the spiritual condition is like working out every day, planning for the marathon, swimming laps, jogging. It's staying in good shape spiritually, and that requires prayer and meditation. So in my analogy here, pro-level alcoholic, like much of us were, have now retired from that endeavor and are doing something else. We're trying to recover from the damage that caused. And the way to recover, one way, two ways, is through prayer and meditation. And that's the kind of the idea in step 11, which I'll read here. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So, why do we pray and meditate? To improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. What did it say here in yesterday's reading, I think? Which isn't that one. In today's reading, it is good to maintain contact, some type, whether it's conscious or not, apparently, with God at all times, but just forget that. It's absolutely essential that when everything seems to go wrong, I maintain that contact through prayer and meditation. So when you get injured and you say ouch or something a bit more explicit, like I do, I swear profusely. I was a sailor in the military, United States aircraft mechanic, and maintained that for many years after. But part of that diet and the people I was around and the job nature, it was loud, it was dirty, it was There wasn't room for, or people in that are drawn to that type of occupation don't seem to use a lot of really clean speech, let's say. There's a lot of cursing and swearing and such, and anyways, it becomes habitual and all this and whatever. But that's part of the diet, if we can go that far. So, man, I'm gonna run out of time. Where are we at? 20 minutes. This thing will stop at 21 minutes and 59 seconds. So what's the point today? The absolute necessity to keep some type of contact with God. Okay, so say you're listening to even this broadcast in a way, how it's getting to you. Say you've got another better one that makes more sense to you and you absolutely depend on it for direction during the day or in life or whatever, and it's very important to you. You're going to want to maintain that connection so it doesn't get lost. The alcoholic now that isn't a practicing alcoholic, but a recovering alcoholic that's focusing now on healing the damage that was caused. We do that. One of the ways is through prayer. Another way is through meditation. Two ways are prayer and meditation through step 11. And then we're asking for, what should I be doing with myself? Now it's His will for us. And then if we can keep that dish receiving area clear and the signals locked on to the proper channel, and we get a clear directive, say, or answer or piece of advice, and it's coming, say, it's grounded in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, not just my opinion or my advice or my words or somebody else's, other than if you can find it in the big book, that's going to be a good source.